with this pandemic, that obviously I've always read this in books, but I never really thought about it that way. But you know, everything changes, nothing stays the same, and the only thing that's constant is change. I've heard I'm gonna quote at one point. When you think things are just cruising, something gets taken off from your stride, right? What's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm trying to make my videos again, and I want to share linchpin real quick. Something that's kind of relevant to us now. What's going on now? I said in my last video, it's a big change. I know me personally. Even if you hear my videos right now, my energy is not the same because I have to try to find the ways to squeeze in some content creation because the kids are home all day, and it's a good thing. I'm not complaining. I think it's awesome, but it does kind of force me to kind of juggle more plates, and to be honest, just be a lot more mindful because now I have to focus on the little one, make sure they're doing their work. So I have to make sure everybody's doing their part, and then at the same time, I have to still be conscious of myself. Today I jumped on and my gym is closed, so I kind of actually did a morning workout. If you guys see here, I'm correct. I never done it in my house really like that home workout, but in times of they say in times of desperate measures, as we call it, you have to adapt. There's nothing, I can sit home and moan and be mad at, why they're closing the gym and why they're changing these things when, it's not that serious. It is what it is. Everything's closed. I have no choice. Find a way around it. Obviously, nothing, I felt like, obviously, I like my free weights and I like my gym. And I had a certain routine, and now I have to kind of change it up and try to stay active, because when you have 3 kids, you need to stay active. It's my mental therapy, and at the same time, it's for the body, but it's mostly for me as a mental thing. But that's a great example for me. My proof to myself that things are gonna change. Life is gonna throw things at you. You have to just adapt. You have to kind of, what does it say? Excuse me. It sounds cliche, but roll with the punches, right? But I think, all in all, I'm home with the kids, and and it's showing me as well that a lot of things that I felt that were essential, right? These are the gym, my things that I kind of felt that I had to go to, certain occasions, are really not essential. We make them essential. We give them that value. We give them that, I would say, our beliefs that's needed. But we can kind of always work around it. And I think being raised here in the U.S., we have a lot of things that we feel are essential. But when you go outside of the country, those things don't even exist. People don't even care about it that much. It's only really in the U.S. when we kind of build up this belief and this admiration for these things that really we can live without, but we kind of make it, including myself, the gym, we make it part of our lives, and it becomes your habit, and you do it every day, and it keeps a lot of us sane. So I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel that we can't alter and we can't change it up, and it's not the end of the world, as they say. But that being said, he's talking about the book real quick. He says, right now, all of us that are working from home, I know for me, the last 10 months, I've been home. So I kind of adjusted to it. It's not easy. I'm still adjusting to it, but I think it's a different landscape, a different scenario for a lot of us, especially if you've been used to going to, show up every day at work. Now, he says, when you're working for a company, who are you working for? Like, if you're working for your boss only, you're not really tapping into your creativity, your personality, what you bring to the table. If a company's not letting you really be yourself, I think as I said in other videos, you want to kind of reevaluate that situation. You want to be able to be yourself. There's nothing, you're kind of selling the world short, as they say, or selling yourself short to the world, because what you have inside of you, you have to share with the world. You want to do it. It's just, although it might sound weird, off topic, whatever it may be, you gotta show it. You gotta show it to the world, because that's who we are. At the end of the day, that's who you are. And I think this moment now is gonna force a lot of people to really become who they are. We've been kind of being told what to do, like, hey, go get this job, go get this career, go work here, great job, great pay. But you really don't care for that. That's not what you really want to do. You're following these things, and it leads, once you get into that cycle, it's kind of, I think, hard to kind of build this way out of it. So I think this thing right now is happening is a blessing in disguise to a lot of us. It's making us reevaluate and focus on exactly where your trajectory is, why we do what we do. Like, if I think mindlessly every day, you don't have time, you get home, you spend some time with your kids and your partner, you go to bed, you wake up the next day, you do the same thing, you barely have time to really sit down with yourself and be like, hey, do I really want to be in this company? Do I really want to be doing this? And if I wasn't doing this, what would I do? So it's like, these questions only come up when you're like, I think, when you have time in your hands, when you're like at that moment of, they say, the creativity flow, where you're kind of not doing nothing, but at the same time you are, but it's like your mind is like tapping into different levels. So I think these moments now, we're forced to stay away from our distractions. We're still gonna go watch shows mindlessly on Netflix. I know I have YouTube, social media, but I think at one point you get tired of that stuff. Like, you know what? I'm done today for watching Netflix. And then you just like have this moment, you're like, okay, what do I do now? Maybe you read a book, maybe you draw. I drew with my daughters. We haven't played board games in the longest. We played board games. So like these things that you never really done for a while, you start doing those things again, because now you have time. So I think he was saying in the book, like, when you really think about who did you work for, and you're working just for your boss or your company, you kind of lose yourself. And in the book it says, you wanna to separate the linchpins from the everyday, I would say, individual, is that they really learn about themselves. They really understand themselves, and they know what they stand for. They have boundaries, and they respect others at the same time, but they expect to be respected, and also really, I would say, communicate what their needs are. And I think although it might sound kind of, somebody that might be entitled, I think it's more of I would say immature, emotionally immature individual, because they don't want to waste other people's times. They'll tell you what they need, and if that individual cannot meet those needs, then great, it's a great partnership, and you move on. But I think these moments now, being true to yourself is going to be one of the most, I think, authentic things right now, because we're forced to kind of be in our environment for a long period of time. We have to think. Where thinking, I think, is one of the hardest things to do, I think, for a lot of individuals, but I think we also avoid it. So now there is no avoidance anymore, because we have nowhere to go. Really, we got nowhere to go. Like, I'm trying to go, you can't go anywhere. Everything's kind of closed down or minimize the hours. One place you can go, which a lot of people aren't doing, they go to the shopping mart every couple of days just to get out of the house. But that's also not smart either, because we want to be as distancing ourselves as possible from they say, each other. But a lot of people, that's the way they get out. So, but the bars, restaurants, theaters, what else? Entertainment, sports, everything that we keep ourselves distracted with, it's been a put on hold. So we have a lot more time for ourselves, because there's nothing to distract ourselves with. So I think that will make us a little more conscious, a little bit more aware of what we've been up to, what we're doing, how we're gonna do it, what would you want to be doing. Different emotions might come up. It's gonna be a real game changer for all of us. So although we might want to sit down here and be like, man, you're really sad for what's going on, and moping, it's gonna be one of the best, I think, moments in history. I think we're gonna get out of this like, wow, it was one of the greatest times, that we had. We were able to pause and just really sit down and analyze what we're doing and how we're doing it, right? And maybe the earth will suffer less because it'll be less pollution, less traffic, uh, less people just walking around mindlessly, hurting it and each other. So who knows? So yeah, so in the book he's talking about real quick. Let me just finish it off. But you wanna understand that you're a lot of us are doing things to make others, to impress others, and that's normal. I think that's a lot of us in general. But have you seen lately where does that get us, right? It doesn't really benefit a lot of us. And I think the fear of being the oddball or being looked differently is huge. I have it as well. We all have it. I think we all have that in behind our minds, right? Like, oh, what they're gonna say, what they're gonna do. So I think we know ourselves a lot better than we think, and if we have a vision, stay true to it. Don't let, I think, your job or somebody that gives you advice deter you from it. But it is normal. You're gonna have those moments where you're like, you know what, I'm not doing anything. It's not, I don't feel like it's working. So you want to go ahead and just give it up. But I think in the perspective of what's going on now, we've been giving back our time. So a lot of us are working from home. Getting back to my point, I know it's getting long the video, but the ones that are working from home now, you make your schedule, right? You are the one. Obviously some jobs might have you to log on certain times, but nobody's watching over you, for the most part. You make your own schedule. You make your own phone calls. You're the one logging in, logging out. You get to have your own break at any given time. It's a lot more independent situation, but not everybody can handle that. Some people might not understand that because we always used to being told what to do, which is what he's talking about in the book. If you're always used to being told what to do, you're only gonna get so far. The real linchpins are the individuals that can obviously take direction, but build new paths. Look at things differently. Have visions about certain things. Question things, right? And that's the truth of a linchpin. So now, with what was happening now, you don't have that in excuse anymore. Nobody's telling you what to do, at least at home for now. You're still working from home and you're doing your job, but you can do it at your way. You can take your time as far as like how you want to go ahead and do it. Obviously, some jobs you have a time frame, you have a set way of doing things, but now I think we can be a lot more in our element, right? Because I think sometimes when you go to work, you have to play the politics game and you have to kind of rub somebody's shoulder and be here and be here, try to make everybody complacent and happy and like you, and you kind of lose yourself. I've been there, done it. And then when you do really just hang out and become yourself, you might get oddball and you might get even taken away, even fired. I think that exists. So sometimes it is a social game in some companies, but most companies that are really successful and are really doing great things, they really want to see every individual be themselves. It's not about who likes who the most, who's most. I would say it's not a competition of who's the most likable, right? It's about who brings the most value, who's a indispensable employee, and who's somebody that tells it like it is, and at the same time respects, compassionate, emotionally intelligent, compassionate of others, right? At the same time, but is not afraid to really, learn about themselves and learn about others. Understanding others as well is something that I think I'm learning, still learning. That's my dog, but I think the best way you can become a little bit better every day is being able to understand how others are feeling or how others are, what kind of motivates them or what kind of makes them, maybe what kind of biases they have, the beliefs they may have, and accepting that, accepting it, not being against it, not saying, hey, that's not how it is, that's not how life is, just accepting it. And I don't think nobody's wrong or right. We know that we don't know what's going on right now. We don't know if the news is coming on is the right thing. We don't know if they even know what's going on with that virus. but we doesn't mean that we don't believe it or we don't, you know, have some respect for it. And I think what I'm seeing now, you know, the governor's telling us in New York not to go out, and a lot of people just mindlessly going out there, hanging out, going to bars. Well, not anymore. They shut it down. But last week, there was still people hanging out at restaurants, and you know, understanding what was going on. It was still out there. So that kind of shows you how I think we feel that our way is the only right way. And I think when you start expanding your thinking a little bit better, and you start grasping that everybody has their opinion, doesn't mean that everybody's right or that you're right or that they're wrong and you're wrong. But just to be an open-minded individual, look at things differently, and accept it. So accepting what is the model this week. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.